exactly do you do with SmithCarter?
Well, I am the Director of Business Development for SmithCarter Architects and Engineers, and what I look after doing is making sure that we have everybody in our community and the other communities that we do work knows who we are and what we do.
So what is SmithCarter's philosophy on being green?
Well, SmithCarter's philosophy on being green is an evolving philosophy, but what I can tell you is that we look at sustainability on a number of different fronts. So we encourage our staff to take alternate forms of transportation to get to work. We have a fleet of 8 hybrid vehicles here, including one that can be signed out by the staff. So if the staff chose to ride their bikes or take the bus to work, and they have a meeting that's outside of the office that they need a vehicle to get to, they just sign out the hybrid fleet vehicle to take it to their meeting. We also do a lot of recycling. We use reverse osmosis water so that we don't have to buy water in water bottles for our meetings and things like that. And in general, we're looking at composting, we're looking at a whole series of those types of things. So that's really our philosophy on how we live and the types of things that we support in our community.
Could you show us some things about the building that make it eco-friendly?
There's lots of great things to see, so why don't we go and take a look? Okay, so Brett, if you look down the studio here, you can see first of all we're designed to be wide open. You can also see that we have windows and doors that are operable, which means we can open them from the studio. So if this works, you see, we just hit the button and it lets the, see how the air comes in. You can also go out the doors, and so we have a huge deck too that runs around the whole perimeter, which allows us to work outside if we want, because we have wireless computer network as well. So we have a weather station on the roof, which senses temperature and senses wind velocity and things like that. And we have a set of clerestory glazing along the roof of the building that when the temperature is right and the wind is coming from the right direction, the computer system will open those windows and allow us to draw air through the building and cool the building that way, which is saves on energy. That allows us to turn off the main HVAC system, which is great. Okay, so this is the SmithCarter nap room, which if you have a headache or if you're not feeling well or you need a little bit of a rest during the day, we have a private nap area for people to come up and just lie down, rest their head. It's part of our whole belief that we have to be sustainable for our staff, and so this is a great little spot. You can come, it's quiet, you can see out, but you can't see in. You come in and just rejuvenate yourself partway through the day if need be. It's our gym. So this allows people to work out during the day if they need to, or in the evening or on the weekends, and we have locker rooms and showers available for staff. We also have a couple of foosball tables. So we have an active foosball group here that plays at lunchtime. This is the staff area.
I believe you designed the Hydro building downtown. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, Brett, I'm glad you asked that question, because the Hydro building's a really exciting building for Winnipeg. It's also a really exciting building for SmithCarter. We worked on that building as an executive architect, which means we look after making sure the building gets built here. We worked with a really big team. We had a design architect involved, and we had what we call a climate engineer. So there's a large group of people that worked on that building to produce what it will arguably be the most energy efficient high-rise building north of the 49th parallel in the world. So it's a really interesting building for the city of Winnipeg, and there's all kinds of interesting features for that building as well. I think one of the key things is that the building's designed to reduce energy. We wanted to be able to use less energy than a regular building does, and in fact we believe that it's going to be using about 55% less energy to run than a typical building of its size and type, so another typical office building somewhere in the city of Winnipeg.
I believe you build the CDC buildings. Can those buildings be any green?
actually, I think what you're referring to is our level 4 containment laboratory buildings that we build, and we have done some at the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. We've also done Winnipeg's equivalent here, the National Virology Lab. And so, yes, we do build a lot of very technically complex laboratories around the world. And it's an interesting question because we're just investigating a lot of that now. Those types of labs use an inordinate amount of energy and an inordinate amount of water in order to be able to keep them safe for doing the type of science that is done in those buildings. But there are ways of designing them so they're greener than they have been in the past. I'm hopeful that at some point in time we'll be able to get some of those types of labs certified as a LEED building. It may not be LEED Gold or LEED Platinum, but I think that we'll be able to make strides towards reducing the energy consumption and possibly changing the layout of those types of buildings to make them more energy conscious than they have been in the past, and also a little bit more sustainable by the right choice of materials. But it is probably one of the harder building types to turn into a sustainable building.
Wow, I didn't know a building could be that eco-friendly. All I hear about is reduce, reuse, and recycling. Thank you, Heather, for the tour.
Anytime, I'm glad you could come.